Yeah. मुझे बताना फिर मैं आगे करूँगी, ठीक है? तभी आगे करूँगी।
Good evening, everybody. Welcome today for this very interesting webinar, which is handling criticism and body shaming. I welcome here Swarleen Kaur. She's a personality development coach. Good
evening, everybody. Welcome today.
She is also the founder of Talk Room. What is it? First of all, I will tell you that because of some technical issue, we could not be here at 6. Tomorrow onwards, we are definitely going to be here at 6. There has been a slight change in the timing. From today onwards, the new parenting series is going to take off only at 6 o'clock. So just keep that in mind. So we'll see you every day at 6 o'clock. मुझे समझ नहीं आती है कि हम लोग बॉडी शेमिंग कैसे कर सकते हैं. We end up body shaming our own selves. We also body shame our children. Sometimes, in fact, if you ask me, most of the time we are body shaming people we really love. It is a very sad thing, really sad. The more I think about it, I really think this was a very important discussion that we are going to get in. I would like to say a few words here, which is who decides for us how we are supposed to look. Are we supposed to look skinny? Is fat है, छोटे हो, लंबे बाल हो, छोटे बाल हो? Should I be dark? Should I be, what do I say? Should I have an amazing complexion? Do I have to always look fair? Why is there so much stress on all of us, especially girls, when we are growing up? We hear this loads of time. कि तुम ऐसे लगते तो अच्छा रहता, तुम थोड़े जाते तो बहुत अच्छा था. आप मैट्रिमोनियल एड में भी पढ़ेंगे और उसमें आप मुझसे ज्यादा जानते हैं होता है कि वी नीड अ फेयर गर्ल, स्मार्ट, फेयर. You think size of the waist decides us as a better human being than who we are? I fail to accept that. It boggles my mind. I want to read a few lines before I pass the baton on to Swarleen Kaur. It's funny. It's really funny. You might think it's a joke, but you don't know what I feel. You really don't. Because I'm never mad. And I always keep that little smile on my face. But I can tell you for sure that within I'm hurt. I'm still hurting. I feel unwanted. I feel unloved. I feel that I'm ugly. I feel I'm not pretty. I have become unsocial because I doubt my own self. You don't know what it is like. Swelling, you know, we are all talking about body shaming. You tell me, to what an extent is it normal to feel that we don't like our bodies? Before you answer this, there is some kind of sound that's coming from somewhere. Can we just look into this, please? Is it at your end, Prachi? There's a choppy sound that's coming constantly. Or is it at Swarleen's end? Swarleen,
just can you
even
check?
I can hear so much.
Swarleen, I think it's coming from your end.
Coming from my end? Just let me check because, yeah, there's a technical error. Wi-Fi is a little slow also today. Just give me a second.
Yeah, sure. Well, let's just wait for Swarleen to get back on her audio. But I can tell you for sure that we are definitely boggled with these thoughts of looking slim all the time. And you know, when this little, what do you call it, like a flash happened, oh, size 0. I mean, can you even imagine what everybody must be going through? Okay, great. Swarleen is back with her audio. So, Swarleen, what do you really think? Yes, you are.
Okay. Yeah. Please tell me, Shefali, will you please repeat the question?
Of course I will. I wanted to ask you that, of course, I know that body shaming happens, but you tell me to what an extent can this really affect our lives?
Unfortunately, it happens to a great extent. And we cannot deny the fact that we all go through it, especially the girls, as you said, and especially in the age of stages of puberty when they are turning adolescent. But one thing, Shivali, again, that you mentioned right at the start was we start to doubt ourselves.
Yes.
Now, that's where the question comes. We stop to accept ourselves. Accept ourselves of what we are, who we are. Is it so important? I mean, the looks or our body, is it so important? Doesn't our inner virtue, our qualities, or what we are good at matters a lot? If it would have been, then people who are not good looking, does that mean that they have nothing to do in life? Not at all.
True.
But do you think, of course, I understand looking after our body, taking care is utmost important because it's just like a machinery that has to go on to work and we have to take care that it's well taken care of. But that
True.
does not mean that if the machinery has a little error, it'll be thrown out, or it'll be doubted, or it'll not work. It is similar with our body. Why do we have to concentrate the 100% on how are we looking rather than what are we gaining and what are we giving? It's important to look after your body, but it's not important, not at all, to think about negatively about our body. Not at
I
all. I think
completely
it's
agree
not
with
taken.
you. I completely agree with you, Soline. I was just thinking about this when we were scripting this earlier. We were thinking about body shaming. I realized, well, I don't have a daughter, but yes, I'm a woman. I will also share about what I felt when I was growing up, and I would obviously want to hear it from you as well. But I was thinking about it. I said I really wish I had a girl, but then I thought about it. I said, okay, fine. If I had a girl, what would I? I mean, don't. What kind of a thing would I want from her? Would I want her to be obsessed by a skinny world? Would I want her to be obsessed by that? No. No, came the answer. I would not want that girl to be empty headed and filled with this notion or, like being self obsessed. And everything that would have mattered is only looking good from the outside. I would rather. I would rather not have that a girl should look like emaciated figure. I would rather have a child who's funny, who's inquisitive, who is interesting, who is independent, who is, who's got great sense of humor, who's kind, who's loving. There are 1,000 more things that you can think of when you look at a child than just being skinny, than just being fair, than just being able to fit that size, that dress size 4. Don't you think so?
Absolutely, Shifali. We are living in the outward, the external part. I keep on telling, if I use that Hindi quote, सबसे बड़ा रोग क्या कहेंगे लोग?
हाँ,
आधी
true.
से ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम तो यहाँ स्टार्ट हो जाती है. I am dull, I will not be accepted. I am dark, I will not be accepted. I am a little shorter, I will not be accepted. बात तो सारी self acceptance से start होती है, isn't it? When
बिल्कुल,
we are
बिल्कुल।
accepting ourselves, when we are loving ourselves the way we are, rather than training your daughter, as you mentioned, why not train her? Rather than training her that, you have to look beautiful, why not give her the beautiful values of life? Be
Absolutely.
whatever. Whatever said and done, you have to look good from inside. Because, that one smile is so infectious.
Yeah.
It will, if you're talking to someone kindly, if you're talking to someone politely, if you're talking to someone and you're helping, lending a helping hand, I think that talks more value rather than you being looking beautiful and being egoistic or boastful about your looks.
I
So,
know. Sometimes I really wonder, is fat really a crime? Is being fat the worst thing in life? Is fat
तो
worse
शिफाली
than...
मुझे लगता है the older times queen of comedy Tuntun, or if I look at Bharti today, they would have never existed. It's
Yeah.
not about you are fat or you skinny. It's about what you have inside. If you show 100% of it, if you give 100% of it, that's what matters.
Because our society has given it so much weightage. That's a problem, really speaking. And I
True.
really feel that, is actually fat worse than being vindictive, jealous, shallow, boring, evil, cruel? Do you think so? No, it is not. But it is the society that gives that kind of pressure to the world, to these kids. And then whatever pressure we feel, we also pass that same amount of vibration to our children. There are a lot of mothers that I have known, and I'm sure Prachi is going to agree with me, that there's so many mothers who will say, "Oh beta, ye mat khao, tum mote ho jaoge. अरे ये मत करो, अब तुमको वेट लूज करना चाहिए, ये गुड टाइम है, नहीं तो बाद में तुम्हारी शादी कैसे होगी?" भाई मोटी लड़कियों की भी शादी होती है, ओके? सो प्राची, व्हाट्स योर टेक ऑन दिस?
See, Shefali ma'am, most of the time it's our, like you said in the introduction only, that our loved ones only, our parents, our siblings, our classmates, friends, colleagues, they are the one who made us feel that we are not perfect, we are not having a perfect body image. But let me tell you that most early in the society, every individual is having some or the other body image issue, right? And plus, we are our own worst critics,
True.
self-bullying, negative image. Like if in teenagers, I have seen so many clients, I have worked with students that they'll come and say that if I'm not looking like a particular, if I'm not having that particular height or that thin, so my friends will not take me seriously. In fact, many a times, people, whether they're students or they are working, they don't take the assignments or job in which they are perfectly fine and knowledgeable, but just because they think that I will not look good, if for example a student is there and wants to participate in some drama or dance, but if he or she is thinking that I will not look good on stage, I will not look good in this costume, whether he or she is very talented, but this thing is going to interfere in their jobs, in their work, in their daily routine, and then directly affecting the self esteem and confidence of the individual.
Very well said, Prachi. I think that was a beautifully put across point. But now the thing is, okay, we know that this thing exists, this evil exists. But how do we overcome our negative body image thoughts? Swelin, what do you have to say about this?
Shifali, first thing is we need to be self-aware that we are definitely speaking negative about our bodies.
Acceptance.
That's one point. We have that's again the acceptance, of course. It has to be acceptance as well as self-awareness that yes, we are talking negatively about our bodies. But here, I would like to ask all the viewers who are watching us. God has made us unique. Every being has a different womb, isn't it? And I personally believe maybe it's a spiritual connect that I feel, or you may say an emotional feel that, as a mother also, or as being a woman, God has so, well, finely intricated that He has woven that threads and we've become into a body. And that's unique. Why don't we think that no second person looks like you exactly? There must be some reason if God has sent you on this earth. See, it to me, to some people, it may, sound a little spiritual or emotional, but isn't that the fact of life that if God has made us, He has made us all unique. जब हम ये बोलते हैं that trust God and trust His ways, why not here? When He has made us, He has plans for us. maybe that when we are unique or different from each one of us, why not accept it that there must be something good in our way? We are unique. I think that's one of the biggest pride that we can take, is that we are unique from each other. And everybody has that quality of being unique. कोई
Absolutely.
मोटा है या छोटा है, सो इसका मतलब द वन हुज ड्वार्फ वो तो बिल्कुल जमीन में ही गड़ जाए ये सोच कर कि आई एम अ ड्वार्फ. You see so many dwarfs coming up and doing literally out of potentials. They are so successful. That does not mean कि हम एक बात को लेकर, अगर हम आपको लगता भी है, it's just a matter of thought, I must tell you. You feel like that, you have so much negatives. You look at the girls. I've got so many pimples. Okay, it's a teenage problem. No, but I cannot go to a birthday party. Now, what are we trying to teach them? अभी ऐसे मत करो, ये लगा लो, वो लगा लो. It's okay. I keep on telling my daughter, it's okay. It's a part and parcel of your life. This will happen. That means you're growing. Grow up with pride. Grow up with dignity. That's what you want. You cannot, miss on a birthday party just because you have pimples on your skin. So why don't we become self-aware and stop bullying ourselves, as Prachi rightly said? Stop bullying yourself first. And then think of,
what you just mentioned, it really took me back 2 years ago. I must share it with all of you here. You said a very beautiful thing that immediately I was reminded of that same situation. Um, you said about pimples. You know that I'm a lupus patient, right? And 2 years ago, I was very serious and I was pretty much going down. Okay. And there was one time in my life, um, at that time of my life, my whole face was all filled with eruptions. Filled. I mean, I wouldn't mind even showing my picture, but it's difficult for me to show it anyhow. The thing is, I was filled with these eruptions. My family was very encouraging, and they would say the right things. They were trying their best. I can tell you that. They would say, "Oh, come on, this will go, and it's okay. You are fighting the disease, and it's okay." And that's when I started losing my hair as well. And when I was concerned, so my doctor said, it's a part of the disease. So today also, when I look at people who have beautiful hair, including you, Swarleen, and beautiful hair that Prachi have, secretly I always feel like, wow, I really wish I had hair like this. I have thought this over and over again whenever I see beautiful women. That's one thing I have, I can't say jealous, but I'm a bit envious of. But at that point of time, I can tell you, it took me months together to fight my own self from within. But the minute, one day, I think these things happen overnight. I had a very dear friend with me, and she was there with me at that time, supporting me through thick and thin. And at that time, I used to cover my head. I used to do a hijab wherever I would go out. So everybody would keep looking at me wherever I went. पहले तो मैं जाती नहीं थी. और अगर गई तो I had to really cover my face because I was like, oh my God, the whole world is looking at me. But one day, it just changed everything. In that state, my friend pushed me. She says, for my sake, take this off. And that day, I took it off. She says, today we are going out and we're going out for a dinner. I wore a nice dress, and here I was with my brother and my friend, and Adit had already called lots of his friends to pep me up because I hadn't stepped out of my room, forget the house. And believe me, when I went out, so many people, these all who are related to my brother, and they kept coming to me and says, hey, Shefali, you're looking so nice. Inside, I knew I was not. But, they built my confidence up. And believe me, after some time, Swarleen, I started feeling so much better. And I started thinking, yes, it's all right. It's just my face. But my spirit can't die. That day, I thought to myself, I said, I cannot let my spirit die. And around that time is when I did completely drastic thing, when I took all the medicines and I flushed them down. But what I'm trying to tell you, when I started to give my own self those positive affirmations that no, my spirit won't die, I look nice and I do look pretty. And slowly, steadily, everything started to change for me. I think, Swarleen, there are so many positive affirmations that we can all speak to our own selves. For me, I think one would be I am unique, I am beautiful. How about
Yeah.
you? Why don't you tell me some of them?
I accept the way I am.
Wow.
I'm confident about myself. I love
Yes.
myself.
I
You
love
know,
myself. Yes.
my body is beautiful.
Yeah.
I look beautiful. So, I mean, anything that peps you up and keeps you in high spirits, in positivity, is your affirmation for the day.
Of
And
course.
make sure, of course, make sure that you keep on repeating these affirmations to yourself, just not to let you down. See, nobody will help you until and unless you don't help yourself. So
Absolutely
the
true.
first thing is that tell yourself, I accept myself the way I am.
We have
I
to accept.
remember, of
Yes.
course, as you tell me, I remember when I was in my school days, I was pretty weak. I've been a feeble child, ऐसे लगता था half starved child. So, everybody would say, अरे यार, इसको कुछ खाने को दिया करो. Like, mom was upset, यार. Of course, I give her. She used to sometimes be a little irritating. कि, भाई मैं क्यों नहीं देती उसको खाने को? Of course, I give her food. But sometimes or the other, I had low immunity. I was caught with typhoid 3 to 4 times, or there were so many issues. And I had a dark complexion. I was literally a child. I mean, nobody would come to pull the cheeks and anything like that. So I used to, when I reached again that same teenager thing, when I reached class 9th or 10th, I really started to think that, I think nobody in the class actually likes me. And because of my looks, maybe, I really don't have good friends. Though I had, that was again that I wasn't accepting. But suddenly, what happens in class 10? People tell me, the teacher comes and tells me, you are selected for your student council.
Oh,
I don't know what happened that evening. I thought, if it would have been my looks, it would not have been the condition I am in right now.
of
So
course.
forget about it. And that day I started to move with a little more confidence. So that one incident, that one pep up talk, or that one positivity in life can do wonders.
Yeah,
So
I agree
that's,
with you, Jenny. Yeah, and
yeah,
I think it also depends on our loved ones so much because these days we are bombarded. Our kids are bombarded with this thing about looking good, whether it's the Bollywood or it's the advertising, it's the media. They're like playing big time with any magazine you pick up,
don't go far away from the peer pressure they
any
have to
hoarding.
handle.
Absolutely, any hoarding, the peer pressure. I mean, you can just name it and it's right there. You tell me, how can we evade this?
Shifali, one thing that comes in my mind is realizing that from where did this negative body image thoughts start to come inside us? Whether, like, who influenced these thoughts? Whether it was our social media, whether it was our society, our peers, our family, from where did this start to come? I would advise all the youngsters here, take yourself to the mirror, look into it, tell yourself that this is what negative I feel about myself. Write it down, throw it in the dustbin. When I say throw it in the dustbin, it definitely means take out from your mind and throw it into the bin where you're not going to look into it. Of course, it's going to go out from your home. That is your mind, your thoughts, your body. The first thing is accept yourself and tell yourself stay away from what this negativity is coming from. If you think it's coming from the social media, one of the causes today. Her picture is so good. She looks so beautiful. My pictures never come good. अब ये नहीं पता किसने फोटोशॉप कर रखी है और किसने कितनी एडिटिंग कर रखी है. You never know that. Instead of getting into that, self cocooned zone and thinking of that, getting into that inferiority complex, why not just eradicate it from you? For some time, if you think it's harming you, switch off your social media. If you think there are some friends who are making it difficult for you to live, and just remove them from your list. Remove them for some time.
I think one should be away from all this kind of negativity, whether it is through media or it's friends who are making you feel inferior. I think personally, if you ask me, being skinny is okay. And not being skinny is also okay. If you have curves, it's okay. If you don't have curves, it's okay. But bashing somebody else for their body type, that is not okay. That is definitely not
and okay. Accepting it is also not okay. You're harming yourself.
We have to tell our children that. I have to tell my child and give that comfort to the child. Hey, listen, I love you the way you are, but the minute if you are putting your doubts on your child, he or she is definitely going to be doubtful all his or her life. Then there is no escape. I remember
you are yourself throwing your child into a deep hole, a deep pit.
Absolutely. One really has to be very conscious of what kind of words they're choosing, because whatever's been done, when we were talking about what we tell ourselves, believe me, everybody out here, whoever is listening to us, our body listens to every word that we even think about. Forget speaking. So if I, in my mind, in my heart, starts to think I look ugly, my body will actually start accepting that. But the minute I change, I switch and I say, no, I am beautiful, I am loved, I am caring, I am kind. That's what my own body is going to receive, that kind of conversation from me. Of course, I have Prachi here, who is a psychologist. Nobody is better than her who is going to tell us about it. Please tell us, Prachi.
Hi, Shefali and Swarleen ma'am. Actually, I have so much network issues, so sorry I was disconnected. But yes, I'll join you in this conversation. The very first thing, Shefali ma'am, as a psychologist, I want to tell you that when this thing started, we all are people, like we all want to look good. There is nobody in this world who don't want to look good. But when the problem arises, when we become obsessive regarding our looks, and then because of this obsession, we are neglecting the other aspects of our personality, right? I have few friends, I have few students who are very talented. They are mind-blowing in whatever they are doing, but they are, not confident enough. We called it in psychology normative discontent. Matlab, I'm not happy with myself. And if you're not happy here with yourself, then you're not going to, do any good about yourself. So first thing is, like, I think you all must have, shared this also, that first thing I should tell myself that I am enough for me. I love my body. Yes, everyone should be fit, but in this process, I need to help my body and not hurt my body and my feelings. We should remember this.
What a beautiful thing to have said, Prachi. That's so rightly said. I think we really need to give positive affirmations to our body. That's exactly what we were discussing even some time back, while we had lost you. Now that you are back, obviously it's nice to have your perspective as well. I must tell you, Swarleen, as a kid, I think I have shared this earlier as well on one of the forums. I always had issues with my ears. Because normally people have ears which are a bit inside and I don't. So I remember in school, people had this very bad habit, whether it was boys or those girls, they had this very bad habit. And if not anything else, even people would come and pull my ears like this, because they were always, like coming out of my hair. So
Protruding out.
when I became so conscious about it, that I always tried to, do something that I would, end up being okay. Like, even if I've started to get a bit comfortable about it, a lot of people, they would say, isko छिपा दे, isko, छिपा दे. I still remember one time I walked into a parlor, and a senior hairdresser, I think he was the guy who was owning that place. He came up to me and he says, I hadn't gone for a haircut. I had taken somebody there for a haircut. So he looks at me and says, "You need a haircut. And something smart that you can cover your ears." I just looked at him, and I by now had grown up. I said, "But I don't want to." I said, "I don't want to, and I'm very happy with my ears." But as a kid, I really struggled with this. I really did. And I still clearly remember telling my mom, "I really need to get operated. Let me sort my ears." And she told me, "Why would you want to do that? Because your hearing is, far more than a normal ear. It is." Especially when I was younger, I think मेरे से सब छुप छुप के बातें करते थे. Because they said, "वो सुन लेगी. She's going to hear." I have that kind of a power, I can tell you that. But obviously, as I'm growing, I think that's also kind of depleting.
Thank
So,
you told us.
yes, I
Right.
remember this conversation.
Shefali ma'am, in teenage, even Swarleen ma'am, you will also agree with me that when puberty struck in adolescence age, every teenager is having this gait and posture issues. We
Absolutely
have
true.
seen,
Yeah.
if boys are there, they'll, अगर बहुत लंबा बच्चा है तो वो ऐसे कंधे
They
करके
start to
चलेगा,
stoop.
है
Yes,
ना?
they start to stoop.
Right?
Yeah.
So ये gait and posture issues रहते हैं, and being counselor we always deal with them, because the first thing we should do with our kid is that help them to understand this process of growing up, that किसी का height जल्दी बढ़ेगा, किसी का late बढ़ेगा, and it's okay if you're not reaching that average height, or if you are taller than the others. So first thing, we need to make them understand this growing up process. Second thing is that we should help them to set their priorities. Teenage is very important in terms of career as well, but if we are constantly thinking about our body and our posture and how I'm looking and how my hairs are, how my ears are, and यहाँ भी piercing कर लूं क्या, यहाँ भी piercing कर लूं क्या, so then they will not able to concentrate on their studies or their career, which is more important. So for every teenager and their parents, I would request them that to help them to set their priorities, tell them that being humorous, being intelligent, being kind is more important than
That's
being having
exactly.
a perfect skin,
Yes.
or having a that height or that sort
Yes.
of figure.
Absolutely. It's very important. Actually, if you ask me, we are the ones who have to make this little change. The society has to alter their way of thinking. It is not about looking good from the outside, it is about being good from the inside. I think we as parents, we as, as a community, we must tell our children, it's okay, the way we look from outside is all right. What you really need to work upon is what is inside. You have to be kind, loving, appreciative, go out of your way to help out people. I think these are the forgotten value system that needs to be ingrained. And I think this is the best time to do that, especially when your children are growing up, because that's when they pick up these nuances. It is always what you learn from your parents when you're growing up, basically, isn't it? What do you say, Swarleen? I think it's very
Of
important. That's
course.
exactly what we discussed earlier as well. I think हमको
Yeah.
अपना focus shift करना है कि our
The
focus
paradigm shift is quite important.
it is very
It depends on the kind of parenting we give, our schools, our teachers, our society. See, it is not one influence that a child has to suffer.
Absolutely.
Influence coming from family, influence coming from the societal, the pressure that they have to deal, coming from schools, their peer pressure. I mean, they are dealing with so much. And in fact, not only youth, if we talk about people who have grown up, people who are like us. अगर आज कोई हमें ही बोल देगा, oh come on यार, you were not looking as good as you should have looked
Yeah.
in the show.
Yeah.
We'll definitely, the first thing after switching off the show, we'll go and look ourselves. अच्छा आज ऐसा क्या था? नहीं आज तो तुम बड़े बीमार लग रहे थे. Oh, it's okay. I mean, the moment anybody tells us how high our spirits are, once they go down, we again collect ourselves. There are a few people who will collect themselves, they'll collect all the bits and gather themselves. Rest will keep on thinking for days, whether it's a young child, whether it's, I think, we middle aged people or old, I think any age.
We
Even
all
today,
have these
even
issues.
even today, a 5 6 year old child will tell you, oh, I don't want to wear this, I don't look good. I remember, a few days back, my nephew who's just 5 years, and I just laughed at him. He's a little chubby boy, and I keep on pulling his cheeks. So he comes to me, and I said, I just told his mother, I said, he's a little small to wear shirts. I think he looks more handsome in the little cutie t-shirts he wears. The next time he goes to his mom and tells him, don't you let me wear a shirt. Masi tells me I look very fat in that. Oh my God. And I never used the word fat. I said he looked cuter. He says, I know what Masi meant, but it really meant that I looked a little heavier and fat. So I'm never going to wear a shirt again now. So nobody taught him, They are so self-conscious.
Very conscious. And
They're very
whatever
conscious.
media makes us believe, so-called the glossy world, I would call it the glossy world. Actually, if you ask me, it's not even real. All the magazines that we see, we don't realize that they have been really worked upon, and forget just the covers. I mean, even on themselves, the kind of makeup, the kind of edits that have happened to make that magazine so that the magazine sells. I think
That's
it's very
right.
important for us to focus on other things rather than just being looks. And मुझे लगता है इसमें मदर का बहुत बड़ा रोल होता है. मदर का. उसकी वजह ये है because the kids are always looking at the mother. And if mother spends hours together in front of the mirror, that's exactly what the children pick up.
True.
That's what I have observed. I personally feel we waste a lot of time in just about just getting ready. Just, of course, it's nice to be presentable and it's a fantastic thing to look good. Everybody should look good. But as Prachi said earlier, we should not be obsessed with it. Or anything. किसी भी चीज का obsession is not good. Anything you're obsessed about, it becomes poisonous, if I may say.
Right.
And
It's the first thing that's harming your mind, Your emotional and mental well-being is lost if you keep on thinking about this. I mean, you cannot remain stable.
Even Swarleen, ma'am, I have seen so many my friends who are, in a funnier way, or they just joke about their figure. That there are even on media we have seen running jokes about fat jokes, if we called it. But maybe in front they are laughing, and they pretend that they are comfortable in their own skin. But when it comes every time, as a psychologist or as a counselor, I know कि the same thing is there ना, दिमाग में वो चल रहा है, back of the mind आप जो भी कर रहे हो कि मैं मोटी हूँ या मैं इन कपड़ों में अच्छी नहीं दिखती हूँ, और this color will not suit on me. So consciously nahi to bhi unconsciously it is affecting you, right?
Yeah.
And then you start having those self doubts. So even jab mere friends bhi hai, my very close friends, now after motherhood, it's not like ki aap kal mama bane ho and within 2 months you will be again fit ho jaoge. You need to give yourself time. You need to get settled with that phase. And as a counselor, I know that with new mothers, PMS is also there. They are already on that line of having depression because of postpartum blues. And then this body shaming comes. self-criticism comes. So the thing is that whenever I'm hearing such things from anyone, whether they are my clients or my friends, जहाँ एक negative comment आया है, on the spot replace it with the one positive thought. Like if my friend said, यार मैं तो मोटी हूँ, मैं साड़ी में अच्छी नहीं लगूंगी, and I'll say that but whatever you will wear, but you know, the moment you will open your mouth, the everybody around you will start laughing because you have such a nice sense of humor, and everybody can't have it. So wear your smile, right?
That's what about your self-uniqueness, what we were talking earlier. That's absolutely about our self-uniqueness. Everybody has a unique quality. There are people, no offense to anyone, there are people who are more than beautiful. But once they open their mouth, you tell, nahi, aise hi theek hai. And there are people on the other hand, see, no offenses to anyone, but there are people who have average looks. But the moment they start speaking, you cannot get off their, vibes and their...
Yeah, I mean, I think you
People want that around themselves, no? People want such people around them, and not those model type people. They want the people who makes them comfortable and with whom they are comfortable. Right?
It's very important. We don't have to be model looking, but I think we can be models for other people. In the way we conduct ourselves, the way
models of inspiration, models of motivation, I must say.
Oh, of course, it's very important. एक तो सबसे बड़ी problem जो मैंने notice करी है, and I'm sure आप लोगों ने भी करी है, we don't know how to handle compliments.
True.
If somebody will say, "Oh my God, you're looking so nice," immediately instead of saying, "नहीं,"
that typical नहीं, ऐसा तो कुछ नहीं है.
This is really weird. And actually, if you ask me, I think you should really graciously accept the compliments. When people compliment,
it is acceptance. Shefali.
Yeah.
Accept you are beautiful. Accept you are good the way you are. I mean, the first thing.
You start accepting all these beautiful things coming your way, you will realize that you will open this amazing door towards universe that will be flooding you with compliments every day in your life.
That's true.
So it is the message that you're giving yourself and others. If you're giving negativity, you cannot receive positivity. And if you are spreading positivity, there is no chance that you will not get positivity. जो फेंको वही मिलेगा.
मुझे लगता है आप अगर एक स्माइल से किसी को ग्रीट कर दोगे ना, half of the thing is done then and there only. And I remember some of my students coming to me, "Ma'am, आप ये थक नहीं जाते हो, हंसते ही रहते हो." मैं कहती हूँ क्या करूँ, हंसी बंद नहीं होती मेरी. So it is not something that was given to us. We imbibed it. As we say about personality, something is there in our genes, but there are things that we learn. Similarly, accepting and then coming way along and realizing that this is me and the way I am beautiful. And that's the only thing. Shefali, you remember, I still remember when I had my book cover launch, people were asking, where did you get ready from? Though it was lockdown, isn't it? Now, that was the blush that was coming on its own. That was the blush of my happiness. That was the blush of the strenuous efforts that I had put up was giving me results. That was the blush of my family being proud of me. So, there and then you realize how much inner happiness means. And I think if you're internally beautiful, you are beautiful externally. And you take pride. You take pride in yourself.
That is what it is. It's all about internal beauty that reflects outside. You have to work towards it. और अगर आप कितना मेकअप करके you think you're looking nice from outside, and if you're like vicious from inside, it's really not worth it. And I think my takeaway from today's program is definitely that we need to accept ourselves. We need to be aware of what's happening. We have to be very self-aware. Then we have to give ourselves positive affirmations.
That's what I was going to say. Self-regulate the positive affirmation.
Every day. The way you brush your teeth every day, sometimes twice a day. Sometimes there are finicky people even who do thrice. So please treat it like that. And believe me, affirmations work. They work magic. It's like you have been criticizing yourself for years. And
True.
if it hasn't worked, try approving yourself and see the wonders. Try loving yourself and see the
It's
wonders.
only you who can approve yourself.
Right.
It's only you
I
and
want
only
to
you.
add to
Prachi was
this,
saying something. Yeah.
Yes,
I just
Prachi.
want to add, I mean, I always say this to my students and clients that tell yourself that my body is my home. My body
Wow.
is my home, and I'm going to build it up and not
True.
going to tear it down. Right?
Very nice.
Build it
Beautiful.
up,
Very nice.
don't tear it down.
So
Wow,
true.
it's a beautiful point, and I think that's a point everybody should take back home.
See,
Work
everybody loves home.
on yourself.
Everybody loves home, and nobody can live without a home. So,
Absolutely.
it serves all the purpose, Prachi, at the conclusion.
Absolutely. And I think you should keep your home clean from
That's
inside
right.
and also
Yeah.
teach the same thing to your children. If you haven't given it a thought, please start looking into this direction. Trust me, body shaming is a very serious thing. It affects the minds of young and the old, and it really severely damages their own self image. Let's not do that for our children and for our loved ones. We should be a little bit conscious of what words we are going to share with our children
See,
or our.
Shifali, it always, it is always on us how we take it.
Yes.
In this lockdown period, my son's telling me, you're not doing any exercise, you're going fat. I said, the more you're growing, I have to grow fat. You know why? Because नहीं तो तुम तो मुझे कुछ समझोगे ही नहीं. So it
No,
wasn't that he was trying to criticize me, but
I,
he cares for me. But the other way, I knew how to put it so that neither he is demoralized nor I am. So it's always take it in a fun stride. Take
I
it
think
in a lighter tone.
take it in a
Isn't
lighter
it?
tone. And
Yeah.
sometimes I think kids are very, they're very particular what they hear from others. So we have to be a little careful with children who are growing up. I think what is
True.
beautiful is that we are all beautiful and we need to respect our bodies
Yeah.
and we need to
Right.
love ourselves. This is the message that I would like to give to everybody out here listening to us. Please love yourself. And that is what the mantra is going to work for all of us. I would like to thank CatFit for giving us this opportunity, for making sure that we get these relevant topics, everyday topics, to the people all around the world, if I may say. There are a lot of people who are listening to us, and I hope we are able to influence some of those people. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you,
nice
Shafali.
day.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Prachi.
Pauline.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Catfit team.
Prachi.
It's